all, and thank you for watching my very first photo voice presentation. This presentation is comprised of many different things such as my race, gender, and sexual orientation, and other different aspects of intersectionality that intertwines with course concepts that we've discussed or talked about in class. I really hope you enjoyed this assignment, and I really have fun putting it together for you. Thank you. So the very first photo that I'll be presenting to you guys is the Faces of Cynical portrait that I took. The Faces of Cynical portrait is currently hanging in the middle of my hallway to this day, and I decided to take a photo of this portrait because I feel as if it represents my race. So to the left of the portrait, there is a face with a darker shade, which represents the African American race. In the middle of the portrait, there's a face with a lighter or orange shade, which represents the white race. And to the right of the photo, there's a face of a mixture of both and lighter skin combination, which represents the biracial or people who are biracial. As for my race, I like to identify as African American, so I associate myself with the darker shade to the left. Because this photo entails three different types of races, I like to combine it or correlate it or associate it with the three identity models, which is the person of color identity model, the white identity model, and the biracial identity model. Because I am African American descent, I'm going to typically focus on the black or the person of color identity model. While continuing on about race, the next picture that I'm presenting is a picture of me with my headscarf. I use this picture to also represent my race because of the positioning and the tying of the headscarf. I feel that this headscarf is a vital part of fashion within the African American culture, and if I would have to place myself in a stage within the persons of color racial identity model, I would say that I'm in the emergent stage. The headscarf entitles me into the emergent stage because it gives me the opportunity to symbolize and associate myself with different things within my race. As a headscarf, I feel as if my race is very composed and I'm able to exude my racial background without offending anyone of another race. The very next photo that I am presenting to you guys represents my gender. I chose this photo to represent my gender because of the posture and the positioning within the photo. The position of my shoulders and the placing of my arms shows my ability to be vulnerable, yet unguarded, elegant, and graceful, which are all characteristics that surrounds the female gender. A specific concept that I like to associate this photo with is gender socialization, which is defined as a combination of social influences from social media, peers, parents, book, and that mental development of how you perceive yourself, which allows everyone to gain a good representation of who you are. So the reason why I decided to associate gender socialization with this particular photo is because as growing up, my mother always told me that in order to be successful, to be a successful black woman, in fact, I have to always exude feminine characteristics, such as being vulnerable and unguarded and elegant. I can never show characteristics such as assertiveness and aggressiveness because they all are socialized with masculinity. And because I am very feminine and very unguarded and vulnerable, I tend to take a feminine approach to different situations, especially situations that may end up in conflict. So instead of being very aggressive and assertiveness sometimes, I take an feminine approach within daily life aspects. And this is why this photo represents my gender. So the next picture that I will be presenting to you guys represents my sexual orientation. I like to identify my sexual orientation as heterosexual, meaning that I am attracted to the opposite sex. The reason why I chose this picture for my representation of my sexual orientation is because for three reasons. One of the reasons that it is a literal depiction of a male and a female together being tight knitted, holding themselves closely, being bonded together, and that's what I really like to see in a heterosexual relationship. Another reason is that because of the name, it is called So Into You simply because it implies how both parties are so into each other and that they have so many similar commonalities that they're both just overwhelmed with each other's love by being in a heterosexual relationship together. The third reason why I chose this photo to represent my sexual orientation is because of the background history. The guy that created this photo wanted to depict what it was like being married for the very first time. He was married for 25 years before his wife passed away. So he wanted to actually show what he felt for the very first time when he got married. And this is a accurate description of what I like to see in a heterosexual relationship. One key concept that's discussed in class that will correlate with sexual orientation is sexuality. And sexuality is defined as one's sexual interest or attraction to another. So by creating this image and showing this image as a heterosexual relationship, I feel that it gives off that both of them have the same type of sexuality mentality in common. Both of them enjoy being in a heterosexual relationship, and it gives off or it exudes a feeling of love, a feeling of happiness, a feeling of trust. And that is why I chose this picture to depict my sexual orientation. As this presentation comes to an end, I would like to thank you all for watching, and I would like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to express the various different identities that make up who I am today. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I really hope that you can take something from this video and apply it to the real world. Thank you.